Hello.
Hey, my name's Elise.
And I'm Sage.
And today we're going to be talking about the role that oppression plays in the realm of sexuality.
Before we jump into this video, you need a little bit of historical background, just so you understand how oppressed the LGBT community really is.
Now that we've looked at the history of these major events throughout the LGBT history, let's take a look at how these issues influence our society today, especially in the school system.
Oppression in the LGBT community is a lot more aggressive than you'd think.
Yeah, actually, research shows that teenagers, that they have a higher risk for suicide and for mental health illness.
Yikes. But don't just take it from the research. These are real things that real people have said. So this first comment comes from Jo, who identifies as gay. She said that gay people at her school, like even if they're physically assaulted, are ignored by administration, which I feel like is a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Kerry, who identifies as lesbian, she said that she went to BYU before they changed the honor code to say being gay was a sin. And she said that if she were to have admitted that she was gay, she would have been expelled from the school.
Holy cow, that's an issue. This last comment is from someone who would like to remain anonymous, but they mentioned that those who are out and who are gay and are proud of it are treated like they have a mental illness, which being mentally ill and being gay are two separate things.
Despite the discrimination and prejudice that the LGBTQ community faces, individual members have found ways to cope.
And something interesting that we found was everyone who we personally interviewed said that having a supportive group of friends is their strongest coping mechanism. And so I think it's important as privileged people, we don't get discriminated against because we're straight. I think it's important to be friends with those who are having trouble, who identify as gay and need some help, need a little loving. So schools have kind of figured out that the gay community is having a rough time. And so these are some sanctions that they've come up with to make school a little bit safer for them.
Yeah, something that they are doing is to enact laws that protect students and staff from bullying and discrimination based on sexual orientation.
Another thing schools can do is include resources and curriculum that include LGBT people. And then when needs arise, when the students say, hey, like this is something we need, this is something we need help with, definitely address it.
And then just if there is any discriminating or bullying that's noticed, to intervene instead of remaining silent, and to help and stand up for these students that are being bullied.
In our interviews, a common suggestion was that schools should have safe spaces like LGBT clubs or ally groups, some place for them to feel safe and accepted where they don't have to worry about being oppressed or discriminated against. Schools are doing a lot to improve the lives of their LGBT students. However, even though policies change, you cannot change the internalized oppression of individuals, and that poses a problem. One of the people we've interviewed who would like to remain anonymous has shared with us an experience he had where he was doing a teacher evaluation in a student health class, and the teacher was using transphobic language, talking about how unnatural it was to transition, and that's an individual problem, not necessarily a school policy problem.
And according to the Human Rights Watch website, they talked about that there's persistent patterns of isolation, exclusion, and marginalization that make these students feel unsafe or unwelcome at school. They often are mistreated and just by the dominant group, and no one says anything.
That's really sad. And overall, there's just a lack of LGBT representation in health education classes.
Mm-hmm.
The classes themselves are very heteronormative, and LGBT students don't really get a lot of information about their life.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that maintains oppression is just a lack of support groups for the LGBT community within the schools, and just not giving them a voice or a place that they can feel welcome and safe. So common stereotypes actually hold internalized oppression in place. And so despite positive policy changes, these stereotypes continue to hold oppression in place and don't allow for more change.
And so, what are some of the common stereotypes?
Some of those are just that being queer is just a phase.
It's not.
Or that gay men are attracted to all men.
They're not. And we actually got a story from one of the people that we interviewed. She would like to remain anonymous, but she couldn't even have a close relationship with her best friend without her parents assuming that she was gay. Like, how unhealthy is that, where you can't even have a close relationship with someone of the same sex without being accused by the majority of being homosexual?
Mm-hmm. Just goes to show that even though changes are made in the policies, because of the different levels of oppression and the effects of internalized oppression, it's really hard to completely, it's impossible to eradicate oppression just by making law changes.
Mm-hmm. The LGBT community is only 4% of the population. And so, as privileged people, we need to be able to help their voices be magnified and help them receive the rights and the attention and the, what is it called? The like interaction, the respect they deserve. We're all human.
Yeah, that's true. We are all human, like Sage said, and we shouldn't let labels segregate or divide us based off of our sexual orientation. We should come together in unity and help one another.
Exactly. So go forth, be the good in the world. It's still going.